Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I am behind schedule today, but that's okay because my day is not over. I'm going to get my second video in for the day because there was some things that came out, some video I wanted to show you. The first thing, though, I wanted to show you is $900 million in venture capital went to crypto companies in the third quarter of 2020. $897.7 million in venture funds were allocated across 212 cryptocurrency and blockchain startups. And then we had this from Zero Hedge. Remember, Jerome Powell spoke at the IMF thing this morning. Says Fed is evaluating benefits of a digital currency. Fed has not made a decision to issue a digital currency, and then they say it's coming. Well, I think that all the world's a stage. I'm not buying this. Oh yeah, we're just thinking about it, talking about it, and all that. I'm not buying that for a minute. I do have my igloo for sale in South Georgia still. If you do buy it, okay. But I believe that these guys were ready for this a long time ago. And I believe that they are playing games. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. All right. Now I wanted to show you this. This is a video that was going around, and I didn't know where it came from, but then I found where it came from. So, and apparently this guy, somebody says here, that's the CEO of X Currency, which seems to be working with central banks to develop CBDCs. So listen to what he says and see if you can figure out what you think he's talking about.
Rising above that, we have some international reserve currencies. So you have reserve currencies that are also recognized as assets by multiple countries. There are several of those. And so for a transaction to take place from country A to country B, it's not just a matter of two currencies sort of coming together. It's a matter of exchanging from the originating currency into a reserve or a recognized international currency and then back out again. And this is primarily true in developing markets. In developed markets where the country's currency happens to be a reserve currency, well, there's essentially only one exchange that takes place, or the recipient is willing to accept the reserve currency. In the digital world.
Okay. Well, I found out where that was from, and it's from the IMF conference where Danielle Dixon, from the CEO of Stellar, was also there. So I was going to play some more clips of him and the ones of Danielle Dixon here.
To share with us your view, how do you see the cross-border payment markets evolve in the next 3 to 5 years? So what do you think are the factors that would contribute to success to companies like yourself? Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. It's such a privilege to be here. I think that the answer to that question, particularly the 3 to 5 years and what this looks like in 3 to 5 years, heavily depends on 3 things. I think you have to first consider how good we are at developing easy use cases for developers to be able to develop on top of our open source decentralized network and others that are out there. So that's the first issue. The second one is how much we focus on the use cases themselves, so solving real user problems versus focusing on the technology. And then the third area is really this interoperability point and how good we are at enhancing the existing financial infrastructure that's out there versus trying to supplant it. So I think that it depends, like how we approach each of these 3 areas. I hope that we continue to approach it from a use case piece versus looking at just trying to enhance this technology that's out there. Because if we are really trying to solve user problems, and we do that with ease of use in mind, with looking at user interfaces and making sure that we're making them simple, and if we consistently focus on this notion of standards and interoperability, we are going to get to the place where if we do this right, we'll get to the solution in 3 to 5 years that looks like a reduction in friction for the end user and for developers that are developing on these platforms from the early days of
let me move along here.
Comprehensive, strong.
She's talking the same talk that Ripple talks, though, isn't she?
We quickly get to the underlying.
Extremely interesting point.
Did I lose my audio there? Let me check. Hold on.
Come back to that.
Okay, here we go again.
Turn to Jonathan now. You heard in the first panel that grateful for you to share your view.
Thanks, Dong, and thanks for the opportunity to be here to address this. So when you look at cross-border and cross-border payments, we quickly get to the underlying factors that are pervasive today in cross-border payments that make cross-border payments less efficient and potentially more costly. The primary drivers there are settlement risk, counterparty risk, and the need to hang up a lot of liquidity to execute a cross-border payment. And the private sector is essentially left on its own to try to solve these problems. So where e-currency comes in, and what we work with central banks on, is to make...
Okay, so his company is called e-currency, I guess. Somebody said X currency. I think it's e-currency must be the name of his company.
The central bank, an important party in cross-border payments, and in fact in central bank digital currency.
All right, that's boring. Let me get back. Let me get to the next section here with her.
Try to actually integrate with the incumbents, like with respect to MasterCard, for example. We have to make it really simple for, especially when it's a new technology and you're actually trying to integrate with these different stacks that exist out there. You have to make the on-ramp to the network very simple. And that's where the interoperability and the standards come into play. And from just all of my years of focusing on standards, and this is what we did exceptionally well at the very beginning of the web, and when we focused on the internet technology, there was a massive focus.
Okay, so you get the gist of it. They're all about interoperability, the same thing you've been hearing Ripple talk about. Now, let's move on to where Brad Garlinghouse was while this was all going on. This is Chris Giancarlo, who runs the Digital Dollar Project and used to run the CFTC. You'll see the cast of characters is similar, but he was at the DC FinTech thing with Brad Garlinghouse. I think this is the panel that spoke ahead of Brad Garlinghouse. Then Brad Garlinghouse gets to step to the plate, and I wanted to play you this part. Here, he talks about how Bitcoin and Ethereum the prices could be manipulated by China. I thought this was interesting.
That there is risk, and we talk about centralized and decentralized in these various technologies. Bitcoin mining is 65 to 75% controlled by Chinese miners. And I think it's hard not to argue that the Chinese Communist Party does not have the opportunity to have control there. I'll take kind of I suppose, alarmist point of view. But what happens if Premier Xi loses $1 million in Bitcoin? You don't think that the Chinese Communist Party has the opportunity to affect a change to the Bitcoin blockchain and make a reverse Premier Xi's $1 million loss of Bitcoin that might have been hacked?
That's a pretty scary thing he just threw out.
Bitcoin, that's true for ETH. That's, of course, leaving aside
true for Bitcoin and Ethereum
dynamics and pollution dynamics, what we see with Bitcoin and ETH. But it's concerning to me that we here in the United States have given those technologies an advantage. And it goes back to the certainty of the investment you're asking about. Just last week, I was speaking with a developer here in San Francisco, and he was talking about investing and building upon ETH as a development platform. And one of the reasons he cited is, look, there's certainty and clarity about the regulation around ETH. So would I invest in or build upon a different stack when there's not certainty? That's a real issue. And I think you see governments like the UK, like Singapore, like Japan, the UAE, or even Switzerland. These are all really good examples where regulation has provided the clarity of the regulation has provided the ability for a healthy market to develop in a holistic view. And that, I think, helps companies like Ripple, companies that want to invest in this space.
Okay. Now, I wanted you to hear this part because in this part, Brad Garlinghouse gives you his case for why he is bullish on precious metals and crypto over the next 3 years.
The Bank of Chris and the Bank of, FinTech Week or whatever we want to call it. Yeah, that makes the sales process a little higher friction. Now, on the other hand, the dynamics of the pandemic have highlighted some of the huge gaps in our financial infrastructure. From moving from cash to digital, I think it highlights how some of the unbanked and underbanked have been left behind by what's happening globally. And so that coupled with, massive inflation of fiat currencies, that's really good for the crypto industry at large. It's not at all a surprise to me to see that the broader crypto market overall, according to, the sources I think you and I both looked at, it's up somewhere around 90% this year. And I'm pretty bullish about what the next year or 2 or 3 looks like for the crypto market at large. And that's largely because when you print as much fiat stimulus, fiat currencies as we're seeing globally, that will lead to inflation. It does devalue those fiat currencies. And so I think that you obviously gold doing very well, you see crypto doing very well, and I think that'll continue to be the case.
Well, there you have it. That sounds pretty hypey of him. I don't know why he would say that he was bullish like that, but I agree with him. I'm bullish on crypto and I'm bullish on XRP, Bitcoin, and gold, just like Brad Garlinghouse is. All right. Let's move along. I wanted to show you this. This is the U.S. mission to the UAE. Ambassador John Rakolta, accompanied by that person and the head of the Abu Dhabi Department of Economic, I think I said that right for once, Economic Development, received Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin upon his arrival. So here is Steve Mnuchin. Everybody looks funny wearing their masks, but Steve Mnuchin looks like that's a cool picture. That looks like a thumbnail. And then I saw this Twitter handle popped up on my radar today, and I thought that it was kind of intriguing. I had to translate. This person is speaking in Arabic on Twitter. It says, investing and keeping the XRP currency will start making profits in mid-2021 and will reach unprecedented levels in 2022. Save this tweet. And here's why I was interested in this handle, because they also tweeted this out. I've never seen anything I've never seen this video, I don't think. It says transfer money internationally within seconds, and they're speaking Arabic again, through Ripple technology. Demand for this currency will be in an incredible amount in 2021. Now, they're speaking Arabic, but I think you can kind of hear him say the word Ripple anyway. I just wanted you to hear it.
تحويلات كيف عم بتصير؟ انتم بعرف ادخلتوا نظام الريبل.
نظام الريبل الآن احنا ارتبطنا فيه وفيري سون راح يكون مع عدة دول، وهذا النظام من أحدث الأنظمة اللي من خلالها البنك يقدر يحول أموال عملائه من مكان، العميل يقدر يحول أموال من بلد إلى بلد في ثواني يعني in seconds.
So anyway, apparently they're bullish on XRP. I'm a digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that these people that are speaking Arabic are apparently bullish on XRP by 2021. They think there's going to be an incredible amount of demand, I guess. Thanks for listening.
Every day, billions of people around the world are mocked, ridiculed, laughed at, and embarrassed by their friends, family, and even strangers. These people go through their days knowing there are secrets being kept from them. They hear the faint whispers behind closed doors. The information and knowledge is held very close and only shared with others who were fortunate enough to find out. Feeling lost, rejected, and ostracized, these people give up, never finding out what digital assets the digital asset investor holds. But there is hope. Join the free Digital Asset Investor email newsletter and find out what digital assets he owns each month, including investments he's considering. Click the link in the description of this video or go to digitalassetinvestornewsletter.com. Put an end to your days of gloom and depression. Join the greatest free digital asset email newsletter ever created.